banned. The reason that we've been seeing Waycrest getting banned so often in the other series is that it is bursting Necrotic Fortified in there.
That is mean.
That is a nasty combination of affixes that these teams, it is just so dangerous for them, and they've been avoiding like the plague. But teams of the caliber of Method NA and Ethical, I guess, are going to be equipped to do battle in such a hazardous environment.
And speaking of hazardous environments, teams are already pulling, so let's get into it. Game number 1 between Method NA and Ethical.
Alright, so they already gathered this first huge pull here on both sides, and they're up to 22% trash, 24. Looks like it's the exact same pull that they've been doing here, and both of the teams also committed their Bloodlust, and we also see a Mirror comp, so both of them running the Devil DK Hunter.
That is great Sanguine management out of both of these teams. Really becoming neck and neck. Method NA start to edge out just a few seconds of an advantage coming into Sky Captain Crag. You saw those armies of the dead popped by all 4 of the Death Knights across both teams as Sky Captain Crag is starting to get dismounted off of his bird.
Yep, so now it's all going to be about that damage, because you are seeing the mirror comp, right? So whichever team can maybe play riskier. Oh my god, we actually saw JB and Shakib here getting hit by, I'm not sure if it was the bird or the powder shot, but they actually dropped really low. This is going to be a damage loss for them, because JB needs to heal up 2 people here. So he's definitely going to lose a little bit of damage compared to Ethical, who seem to be doing just fine there. Of course, we see one of the hunters, or the only hunter rather, in both of the teams, just baiting the bird poop there on the outside, so it doesn't spawn in melee.
I find it interesting who's playing Hunter for both of these teams, actually. So Yoda going on that Hunter and Arrow going on that Hunter for Ethical. I would have suspected it was actually going to be Array for Ethical and Lip for Method NA, but kind of throwing a shape-up. I wonder, like a shake-up. I wonder, there has to be a reasoning, but it's probably just due to DK play, not necessarily to Hunter play, because Hunter in an MDI scenario, all the guys say that it's fairly straightforward as to how to play.
Well, I mean, I agree that it might be straightforward in other dungeons, but here specifically in Freehold, they have a lot of like really important jobs, right, as a hunter, because you need to take over that rogue utility spot where you need to go over to the Ring of Booty and make sure you don't die on the way. And then at the very end, we also saw some of the hunters do this like Ravager pull that the rogue usually does with Riposte, which also is not so easy to do, I believe, as a hunter. So maybe they're just the most confident to be able to pull that off with the Yoda.
They're both
Arrow.
rogue players. You're absolutely right. They're both rogue players, is why. Okay, that makes way more sense now that you say that. All right, so both teams are looking to drink immediately to be able to despawn some of those brine scales and the harpooners in order to be able to pull the second boss as quickly as possible. You do see Method NA and Lighty heroic throwing some of this trash to try to get it grouped up. He gets that pre-life cocoon right before he enters combat with some of those mobs, so JB is not going to be generating a bunch of healer threat. The Crusher has been pulled, and now everybody's starting to get harpooned into melee. For Method NA, they're not pulling this trash on top of the boss, instead electing to pull it off to the side. Yoda has walked back and joined back up with the group. You saw him camouflage off to start that RP, as Nagura was alluding to earlier, while Ethical, on the right-hand side of your screen, is doing something very similar.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing, actually, but Arrow was back to the group a little bit later, so this means they're going to take a little while longer to finish off this pull. It looks like the Crusher is standing in Sanguine. The Ring of Peace came out a little bit too late. That means this is going to heal up quite a bit, which is definitely going to be quite a loss for them. They can theoretically just chain the Crusher into the boss.
I think they have to, right?
Yeah, they probably have to. This means they might lose combat, they might lose potions, which is definitely a damage loss, and they might even choose to, they're just finishing it off, so a little bit of a time loss here compared to Method NA.
Yeah, that's going to cost them somewhere in the range of probably like 15 to 20 seconds or so, right? That's pretty bad. Method NA has already started an engaged combat with Captain Jolly and Captain Raoul. I suspect that they're going to pull some trash into the bottom 20-some-odd% of Jolly and Raoul, right? I think it would make sense.
It's Sanguine, so we've seen teams not do that, just because these bosses are actually kind of hard to control, because they like jump around. But
that is true.
It's possible. They have grips and they have Ring of Peace to control it, so if they are feeling like it, we can definitely see some trash pull on top of this boss.
So the world marker came out for Method NA, and you saw all the players move to it, but I don't 100% know why. I think it may have had to do something with the Whirlpool of Blades, maybe. but it's really hard to be able to tell. I think they're trying to just keep the both Raul and Jolly stacked up as much as possible.
Yeah.
Raul, of course, has that barrel smash ability, like you see on the right side on Ethical right now. It's really annoying and can knock players away and do a significant amount of damage, getting them deep into Grievous. So Method NA doing a good job of mitigating a lot of damage, so allowing JB to do more DPS as opposed to having to heal up all those stacks of Grievous.
I think it's also like a big reason why you want to maybe bait the charges from the boss is to also have them stacked for the brew, right? If it's a dot brew, a bad brew, then you want to make sure you stack both of the bosses inside. Usually in live servers where you see everyone just being spread out somewhere on max range and one boss charges all the way to your side and then you have a bad brew and the tank will not manage to put both of the bosses inside because of the other boss just charging away. So definitely seems like they want to stay as close to the boss as possible to be able to just abuse that bad brew damage, which does a lot more damage than the positive brew would give you on their friendly targets.
Oh my goodness, dude. Method NA's Sanguine management on that Crusher was just perfect. The Crusher was at 1% HP, standing 5 pixels away from a puddle of Sanguine that if he was standing and doing that rock throw, he would have just healed to full. So that was great. Whereas on the side of Ethical, more problems with just Sanguine management. You saw that Crusher and Ludwig getting a couple of ticks of healing. While it's not going to like end their run or be catastrophic, it's going to put them behind a team of Method NA's caliber.
Yeah, I mean, so one thing to note though is that no matter how fast you deal with the trash here, the pull ends when Ludwig dies, right?
Yes.
So even if the Crusher would be alive for longer or the trash would be alive for longer, overall it wouldn't actually matter for dungeon speed because Ludwig is the one mob that will spawn Trothak. So if theoretically Ethical would have had more Ludwig damage but less AoE damage, they still would have been faster, but that didn't end up happening as they're still fighting Ludwig. It looks like 30 to 40% on Ludwig still, so they're taking quite a bit longer. Method NA just an incredibly clean run by them, and now they're pulling even more trash. I do believe they will chain this on top of Trothak as well as soon as it spawns.
Lighty doing a fantastic job of grouping up these mobs here, keeping them stacked as tightly as possible. They are looking like everybody is in the arena. They are pre-positioning to be able to pull Trothak. You do see those Apocs being popped for both the DKs. The D&D goes down, and all that trash just got obliterated. No, not even a chance for Sanguine healing. I don't even think that Ring of Peace was necessary. That was picture perfect by Method NA. Whereas on the side of Ethical, they're doing an even bigger pull than what we saw from Lighty grouping up. So Skylark is actually grabbing that patrol pack that was down at the bottom of that patrol, whereas he's also grabbing that top landing pole.
Yeah, this is a pretty huge pull by Ethical here. They pulled the upper packs plus the patrol on top. Looks like they're engaging Trothak as soon as they've gathered everything up here. But yeah, Method NA is up to 88% trash, and they don't need... I'm pretty sure we know that Method NA is kiting, right? So they definitely need to get a 12% or the 10% trash that they still need here.
The 10%
somewhere
comes from the
later on,
Ravagers.
which is going to be the Ravager. So they're done with trash as soon as they finish off Trothak here. Well, Ethical, we're not completely sure if they're kiting or not because we haven't seen them play this on tournament yet. But it looks like they're doing the same thing as they're also up to 91% now.
Yeah, Ethical is doing a good job of being able to try to claw back onto Trothak damage, but with there being about 50% of a boss's HP separating the two, Method NA has a fairly commanding lead at this point. So now Method NA has down Trothak, and they are making their way towards the Harlan Suite area. They just need to cross the bridge, deal with their Ravager pull, probably before Harlan, and then make their way up into the Harlan area.
Yep. Now it's all going to be about that kiting strat, right? This kiting strat is definitely very difficult and incredibly volatile. If something goes wrong, you're just going to have a full team wipe immediately. There's almost no way to recover, like snap from the obelisk mobs, or if JB goes down, or if they snap to JB. Either of those things will mean that you're very likely going to have a team wipe. Very, very little chance to recover. We see them do a skip now as they're up to 100% trash. Lighty off-tanking that patrol. Now they will shadow melt off the aggro, and now it's going to be about JB and about the aggro too, because there's no rogue with tricks. You only have the misdirect here. That's why you see Yoda standing right there. He's trying to misdirect the aggro from those awakened mobs on top of JB.
and it looks like they're doing a really good job. So they pull Harlan off to the side there. You saw JB pre-life cocoon. Now he transcendences away. And goodbye, Awakened Moms. I'll see you later. Ethical has down Trothak, but I think it may be just a little bit too little too late, as long as JB is able to keep his kiting consistent and clean. So now Method NA is just doing the reverse, like the inverse strategy of what you see a lot of teams do on live for where they're tanking this boss. There's truly no difference between the two. You don't have to pull the middle pack at all, and you're in a good spot almost regardless. Ethical has now started their Ravager pull, but again, like I said, it's all down to JB's kiting. He's doing a great job of making sure that he's staying out range. He ends up getting caught by Voidweaver Malthier's kick, but he's still out of range of the Blooded Corruptor, making sure that he stays within range of all of the other mobs, though, to not like have them teleport back to his group.
Yep, so JB just running in a circle here, making sure he does not mess the skip up, because, again, if he does, it's definitely going to be a team wipe. They just now use their Bloodlust as well. I think they... did it just get up now? Oh, it probably just got ready now. But we see Ethical having some problems on their side. I think they just messed up the skip. They tried to skip, but it didn't work out properly. Now they did manage to get the Shadow Melt off. But yeah, just too little too late for them. As Method NA is about to finish up Harlan Suite now, below 30%, which means there's going to be a damage taken increase on Harlan Suite. And the boss is going to die in no time. And then it's going to be the first game going to Method NA. And what a clean run by Method NA and Ethical, to be honest.
Yeah, check this speed right now. The 11:25 run.
Faster than the time trials.
Oh my goodness. It's rare enough that we see people meet their time trial runs, much less beat it in cup play, Dratnos.
Yeah,